Christian Ziegler, when he was on last time, he was running for chair of the Republican Party here in the Sunshine State. He was vice chair. He is now the newly elected chairman. Mr. Chairman, good morning. Congratulations.
No, I appreciate it, Ed. I got to get me some of that barbecue sauce there. We're the red state, Florida. They should put Florida on that T-shirt, maybe on the label as well.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk to David Carroll. If
maybe
you're
he
on
could
board
open
with that,
another location. Maybe we could franchise it down here.
Get it down in Sarasota. I know Rumble. I know our friends at the America Project. There's all kinds of great patriots. There's that promo code who are moving not just to the free state of Florida, but particularly where you are in Sarasota. Let me play this clip of Governor DeSantis yesterday. We want to give him fair hearing. We heard a lot from Donald Trump at CPAC. Here's Ron DeSantis, the governor, in his State of the State speech yesterday. Let's listen.
So we find ourselves in Florida on the front lines in the battle for freedom. Together, we have made Florida the nation's most desired destination, and we have produced historic results. But now's not the time to rest on our laurels. We have the opportunity and indeed the responsibility to swing for the fences so that we can ensure Florida remains number one. Don't worry about the chattering class. Ignore all the background noise. Keep the compass set to true north. We will stand strong. We will hold the line. We won't back down. And I can promise you this, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yes. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to play a little bit of that clip. You ain't seen nothing yet. And I tossed you the question, Christian. Yeah, we'll listen to that. Yeah, that's a good song. Where is the governor right now? Gave a great speech yesterday. He did skip CPAC, and we noted that. And a lot of people in our audience are more Trump fans, and they want to see DeSantis wait his turn for 2028. You're in the middle of this potentially. You got two high-powered residents of this state in Trump and DeSantis, and yet he teased yesterday, you ain't seen nothing yet. How do you interpret that, sir?
Well, I think that, look, he was obviously addressing our state legislature on the first day of session and laying out his vision for the legislation he wants to get done. They've been very clear. I think a decision on maybe running for president will happen after the legislative session. Right now, we got a lot of work to get done. And this governor has led. He's been a very conservative governor. He's delivered for Floridians. And I think he's going to continue to do that. So he's got some bold agenda items. You know, whether it's obviously he's going to do the traditional water quality, transportation, those issues, but really he's got a very bold conservative agenda that we're going to see. He's going after teachers unions. He's banning more sexual content in schools, universal school choice I'm very excited about, and constitutional carry is another agenda item I think we're going to see get passed. So I think that's what he's focused on, and that's what his comments were focused on. Is we have a lot to get done here in the state of Florida, and it's working. I mean, we're seeing everyone is wanting to move here, start businesses here, retire here. So we're in a very fortunate spot, and I think he's doing an excellent job as governor, and I hope he continues to do so.
I think a lot of us hope that he continues to do so because he put Florida first, like America first, Florida first. Right. But does he have the juice to run for president? You know, most of our audience doesn't think he does. You know, they'd like to see Trump and DeSantis on a ticket together potentially. Mm-hmm. But does he have the juice? You talked about bold statements, and he has made a lot of difference. But is that juice there? Is that grit there?
Well, I mean, look, he just won the state of Florida. I mean, you know, before he barely won. It was about 30,000 vote difference. Now he just won by 1.5 million votes, 19.4%, which is huge in Florida. Florida is the real deal. I mean, this is a legitimate operation, a legitimate state. It's not like some small state that only has a congressional district or two. We're one of the bigger states. We're one of the strongest economies. And again, we are the prize state in the entire country people are wanting to move to. So I think he's proven that he can lead at the state level. Now, running for president, obviously that's the next level up. But he does have experience in Congress. He has experience as an executive. You know, we'll see how it goes.
No doubt about it. Now, Donald Trump was asked at CPAC. I was at a news conference with him and a small group of reporters right before his speech at CPAC. And he was asked, would you consider DeSantis as your running mate? Take a look.
A lot of the folks that we talk to out here say that they'd love to see a Trump-DeSantis ticket. What do you tell them? Would you consider asking Ron DeSantis right now to be your vice presidential pick?
Well, I've always had a great relationship with Ron. I was the one that made it possible for him to win. He was at a very low number, and after I endorsed him, he went up by a lot, and he asked me to do that. I've always had a good relationship with him, but it's much too early to talk about it.
So he left the door open, I read, but it's interesting. He also made the point he makes a lot, and a lot of our viewers make, which is that he kind of made DeSantis. He wouldn't have won that first race in 2018 without Trump's endorsement. And there's a feeling among some Trump people that DeSantis would be disloyal by running. What do you think?
Look, everyone has a right to run for president, I think. As for the vice president comment, I mean, it's interesting if you actually look at the Constitution, because you see the shirts, right? Trump, DeSantis everywhere. And as for the Constitution, if you have two individuals running from the same state, they have to forfeit those states' electoral votes. So logistically, it's not possible unless one of those individuals, either President Trump or Ron DeSantis, were to move.
Well, and Trump has property, pardon me, but Trump has property in New Jersey, New York,
to just become a resident of another state, no?
Yeah, but your point is valid. But Trump, people do ask us that. But Trump could move back to Bedminster, New Jersey or New York, and then he's not a resident of Florida. But your point, go ahead.
Yeah, correct. I mean, that would be an opportunity there, obviously. But look, everyone has a right to run. I know President Trump was instrumental in when Governor DeSantis first ran. That endorsement really helped and propelled him. But then since then, I think Governor DeSantis' actions, that's why he went from a 30,000 vote victory to a 1.5 million vote victory 4 years later. So again, two rock star individuals, we're so fortunate to have them in Florida, and we're so lucky to have them.
Well, but how do you navigate this? Because our viewers may not know. They might hear you talking about DeSantis, say, oh, he sounds like a DeSantis guy. But there was a Politico story, I don't have to tell you, but our viewers might not know, saying that when you won this job, DeSantis people privately got nervous because you're really a Trump guy. So what is the truth? Because I know the fake news can say all kinds of things. What's the truth? And how do you navigate this? Because, again, you've got these two heavyweights looking at each other. What do you do?
Look, I have a great relationship with both men. President Trump called me soon after my victory, congratulated me. We had a pretty good conversation. During that conversation, I said, man, you really put me in the middle of the food fight. But DeSantis and I are very close as well. Just he congratulated me the day that I won. A couple days later, had me sit down and meet with him, and we discussed school board races that we're going to go after. And obviously, my wife was just appointed by him to the Disney board. So I really appreciate respect both men. I'm going to support both men. The party's going to stay neutral. I don't think it's appropriate for the party to get involved. Let's let the grassroots pick who they want. But again, I do respect both men. I appreciate what they've done. They've been incredible elected officials at their various levels. And I think this country and this state owes both men a lot of gratitude, to be frank, because they've just been executing and they've done such a great job.
DeSantis has definitely executed, and I personally am very proud to have him as the governor of Florida, and it's evident that he's done a great job. But how much of that was inspired by Donald Trump? Donald Trump says all the time, he wouldn't be in the position that he is. How much of that really defines who DeSantis is?
Well, I think what Donald Trump, his lasting legacy, I mean, we can look at all the stuff he's done for Israel, foreign affairs, for economy, all of that stuff. I actually think Donald Trump's lasting legacy will be he ushered in a roster of fighters in the Republican Party. We have people now, when you go to elect someone, you go to look for a candidate, you want someone that isn't just going to be good on the issues, but it's actually going to fight for the issues. And Donald Trump made fighting cool for the Republican Party. And now it's become a standard when you go to look at an elected official. So you have someone like a Ron DeSantis that comes in for governor, and he aggressively goes after the press. He aggressively pushes these issues. And I think Donald Trump kind of started that in our party because, again, remember, before Donald Trump, we had Mitt Romney, we had John McCain, even George W. Bush, and they were not as aggressive as fighters as we see now, not just from President Trump, not just from Governor DeSantis, but also all of these congressional candidates that are coming forward. So I think that's going to be his lasting legacy. I think the president has done a great job of really setting that tone and getting the party to the next level.
Speaking of that, let's end. We just got a minute about your job ahead as party chair. I saw a tweet from you that caught my eye because the left was dumping on Florida, and you called them out and said, you know what? Voter registration in the Sunshine State, a net of 650,000 swing to Republicans. You have more Republicans moving here. 19.4% ass kicking, as you said, at the ballot box. You mentioned that a moment ago. Democrats seem out of ideas in this state. And you have a big bold agenda as you look ahead here, because you've got so many Republicans joining the state and saying, this is a free state of Florida. What's your thought in 30 seconds?
Yeah, look, Democrats are desperate. They have no vision. The Floridians are not buying what they're trying to sell. And this state is headed in the right direction. And we're seeing that with the people moving here, with the election results. And it just, their complaints and their vision for Florida doesn't match up with what we're doing that's working. And again, this is a market economy. We're seeing people flood our state because what we're doing in Florida is working, and we're going to continue to do that.
All right, Christian Ziegler, if nothing else, at the end of this tenure, at the end of 2024, you're going to get a job as a diplomat somewhere dealing with
sure.
DeSantis, Trump. I can tell you that. Quick break. We're back with some real American voices.